We have got a delivery. We've got. Yes. Hi, mate. You're right. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. It's just every time. Every time. You know, if ever a parcel's late, we just start a podcast because we know that it can turn up at some stage.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of How I Failed in Business, where we talk about the biggest blunders and mistakes that leaders in their industries have made, so that you hopefully won't make them, or maybe you will, but we're telling you that that's okay. I'm one of your hosts, Sophia Grace, and here as always,
Rob Spence.
And here with us today, Sam Coover. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good. So, Sam, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yep. So, name's Sam Cooper. I'm the business owner of a commercial cleaning business called the TSD Group Cleaning Services. We're a Leicestershire-based business. Been operating for nearly 2 years.
Fantastic.
And a very good one. We had our carpets cleaned by the TSD Group.
That's good to hear.
Recently, yeah. We had a message in the group. I think Connor put it in. We have got a delivery. We've got. Yes. Hi, mate. You're right. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. It's just every time. Every time. You know, if ever a parcel's late, we just start a podcast because we know that it can turn up at some stage. But you know, we didn't realise the carpet was checkered.
Yeah, no one knew. And then we came back in after the weekend, and oh my gosh.
You've done a fantastic job. Yeah. And the windows are cleaned as well. So thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah. Fantastic. So Sam, obviously we really want to move on to TSD Group, but can we go back a little bit further, sort of early life, what that kind of looked like for you?
Yeah, sure. So I was never really academic. So didn't really do well at school or go on to further education or anything like that. So very early on I left school, no GCSEs, kind of ended up on a building site labouring and thought maybe a trade is the best thing for me, that avenue. Did that for a while. Work dried up, so then I looked at, the story is that I lived with my dad at the time, and what he used to do was, if I wasn't working, he used to get me up at 7 o'clock in the morning and kick me out of the house, and not let me back in until he was home from work. So the next part of my career kind of happened by chance, really, that there was an advert on the television for the armed forces, as he was kind of waving the finger at me, telling me to get a job in between jobs. So I said, well, I'm going to go join the army. So, you know, give me a break, will you? I'm going to go. He said, okay, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going in a couple of days. So I had to then go. And of course, when I went down, I had to bring something back. And it was only by chance, really, that I met a recruitment sergeant that kind of sold me the dream, really. So, so started off as kind of labouring for a bricklayer. And before I knew it, I was in the armed forces. Joined the Royal Corps of Signals, went through basic training, trade training, met some really good friends, some friends I'm still best friends with now from Leicester as well. Did that for 4 years. And then my partner's father, he worked in the logistics business, and I got my HGV driving licence in the armed forces. So naturally I went to HGV driving. After about 6 months, moved into management teams, spent the next kind of 4 or 5 years climbing the corporate ladder, senior management within logistics, ended up becoming a fleet manager. And then probably about, nearly 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago, had young family, so I had Jude's my eldest now, but he was 4 at the time, 3.5, and hit 30 as well. So I think that was a big thing. I just kind of, I always thought that the corporate world was where the dream was, and, you know, the company vehicle and all the benefits that come with it and everything else. But I think I hit 30, had a young family, needed a lot of time from me and everything else. And I just had a bit of a reality check, really. I thought, is this for me? Is this what I want to do? So from that point, I went back to HGV driving on the agency. So it was when the driver shortage was a couple of years ago. So wages were really good. So it allowed me to go back HGV driving 3 days a week because the money was good. Did that for kind of 6 months and thought, what am I going to do? And my dad owns his own business. So he owns a pressure washing business, domestic business. So I've always had that. I want to do it, but it's kind of getting it right and taking that leap of faith. So it just made sense, really. I got bored driving. The wages were good, which allowed me to go part-time, so that the financial risk was minimal. So I thought, well, I'm going to go for it. And started off as the business started off as a domestic cleaner business externally. And before we knew it, we were offering commercial contracts and things like that. So yeah, that's me really. Yeah, started off on building sites, armed forces, logistics, and then even now the business is still transitioning into
lots of big jumps there.
from my own, and then we employ people now and everything else. So and I'm on a podcast now as well. So, yeah,
This is peak. This is peak life for you right now.
Yeah.
Podcast. No, there'll be more to this, I'm sure. Obviously, that transition from the army back into civvy streets. How did you cope with that? Because how long were you in the army, all in all? Then
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was okay with it. Well, yeah, I was okay with it. So when I left the forces, I went back driving for a while. There's some things that are still in me now. So walking on grass.
Not bullets or anything.
No, walking on grass, believe it or not, is a funny one. If you get caught walking on the grass in the forces, then you're in big trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I didn't struggle with it. To be fair, I think it gave me a real good advantage. I think it's a cliche when they say things about being smart, presentable, turning up on time, all the basic disciplines that I think sometimes some of our generation, young generations now may lack. It gave me a real good steer in civilian life. I don't know if it was the military that gave me it, but I've always tried to progress and kind of drive my career forward. And in the forces, promotion is a big thing. You're always pushing for that promotion. So, yeah, I didn't struggle with it. I think, if anything, it gave me a lot of positive attributes to bring into the civilian world.
Yeah, and some of that sounds, you mentioned obviously your father and such. Was he a military man? Because he sounds like he drilled you from quite an early age to get out and find your feet.
No, well, we have a bit of a joke. So he was in the TA.
Okay.
So he was what we call a weekend warrior.
Yeah,
so, yeah. But
I was an army cadet, so
yeah. So no, I don't know. No, he didn't really. I don't know where that came from, really.
Did you ever consider joining his business that he had? Did he have it when you were?
Yeah, so he's been a business owner for 25 years. It's a lifestyle business for him. So he's only ever worked 6 months of the year, and then he goes away for 6 months of the year in his camper van or wherever he wants. No, so it's always been a lifestyle business for him. And I've always been kind of trying to get working with him, but he's always kind of said, no, you need to go and do your own thing. Yeah. It's quite funny, actually, because it's been like that. So I'm 32 now, and since 15, I've been delivering leaflets and doing the odd job with him and things like that. And only now that I've got my own business and I'm on my own path, he's turned around and said, I think I'm going to retire now. So yeah.
But it's a nice inspiration to have. My dad was a military man, so he was in the Marines for a while, and I think that kind of mindset that he then instilled on me when I was growing up, like, really helped my work ethic now. You know, even when I was at college, you know, it wasn't necessarily inspired by him, but before college I'd be going on runs around the village at, 5-6 o'clock in the morning. A lot of that was to do with rugby and stuff, but you could see that kind of mindset that he had to want you to better yourself.
Yeah, it's like I thought about it the other night and how busy things are now. When you join the military and you go through that basic training phase, generally the day starts at 5 o'clock in the morning and it finishes at 7-8 o'clock at night, and kind of that's where I am as a business owner now. So the prep you do the night before saves you the time tomorrow, and all them basic things you do in the forces. I try and think back now to actually I can use them skills now. It's very familiar, the feeling now of the length of the day and what we need to do before the day ends that you do in the military. So,
yeah. Sorry, I'm going off on a random tangent here, sorry, and then I'll be quiet again for a little bit. Do you feel, because as a business owner, I'll be brutally honest, I'm very concerned about the future workforce and the future generations because of flexi working from home, this whole just work when you want, turn up when you want kind of attitude that some people have. Do you feel that that's going to be a detriment to our economy, or do you feel that we need some routine? Am I just being old-fashioned? I don't know anymore.
I think it's a combination of both, yeah. I think long term it'll have a detrimental effect. I think that I don't know how to word it correctly, but I think the kind of, so if I link it back to like the military sort of style, sometimes you're told to do something and your feelings are irrelevant. And I'm not saying, that's one extreme. On the other side, so that mindset I think is what drives a lot of people and can drive a lot of businesses forward. And I think we've lost that somewhere. I think we've swung the other way now, where I think as a business you're looking at productivity of people. You consider who they are as beings and everything else, but people need to be productive, and I think there's a lot of things that can get in the way of that. So yeah, I think long term it'll have a detrimental effect. I just don't know what that is. But, yeah, but again, I think where we are in terms of mental health and things, we're in a good place with that in the workforce and as employers and as employees. It's just finding that middle ground, I think, of sometimes you do need to dig in, we do need to work a bit longer, we do need to get it done, but at the same time, we all want to go home to our families and...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, you said some of, obviously, the basic skills that you've transferred then into your working life. What do you think are some of the maybe less obvious skills where you're like, oh no, I did actually implement that and I see it? Are there any?
I think resilience and discipline is probably the key takeaways, yeah. So for me, I don't like running, but I have to run because of the benefits I get from it. So for me, that's a key discipline.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the one I can think of, really, yeah. Check.
Yeah, you're not shined your boots today.
No. There are some things I did stop doing, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you...
Sorry, no.
Your transition that you said in TSD Group from domestic to larger scale cleaning, how did that sort of come about? Was that something that you looked to do from when it was domestic cleaning, or was it just something that happenstance and it came to you that way?
No, so when I started the business, like I say, I was doing it, the plan was to do it part-time until I was at a point where I could pay myself and go and do it full-time. But literally within 3 weeks, it just took off and I didn't look back. The way I grew the business was leaflet dropping, really, a real old-fashioned kind of marketing tactic, and I just did that. Did that for a while, and then the first winter came. So I started in May. When you get to October, November, a lot of businesses just come to a grinding halt in terms of exterior dust because nobody has it done. Driveways, patios, things like that. People put it off for the summer. Yeah. So I got to that point and thought, well, I can't do this every year. I've got a young family, a mortgage, and I want to grow the business. So I had to look at how I could get regular revenue within the business. So it was quite lucky as well that in terms of carpet cleaning, so I was approached by another commercial cleaning company that said, do you want to do some subcontracting for us? I said, I've got no experience, so don't worry about that. We'll teach you how to do it. So they taught me how to do that. I've got a family friend who's a commercial reach and wash window cleaner who said, one of my lads has phoned in sick. Do you want to come and help me as well? So I said, yeah, go on, I'll do that. My dad owns a pressure washing business. And when I was doing the carpet cleaning, this same sort of time of year, so that winter, when I was doing the carpet cleaning for this commercial cleaning business, I started talking to the customers and talking to the cleaners as well. I started trying to figure out where the revenue was and what that opportunity could look like. And then I sat at home and thought, well, I've got all the specialist services. I'm sure I can do a better job, or I can do as good a job with the core service. I've got all these experiences of employing people in the corporate world. I've been in the forces in terms of putting that effort, discipline, and trying to push things forward. So I just sort of went for it, really, yeah. And then a couple of opportunities landed on my lap. Got a couple of contracts that gave me regular revenue. I've just kind of built it from there now. So yeah, so it was more forced than it was anything else. I had to pivot the business to survive. But looking back now, it was the best thing.
Yeah,
best
a
thing
case
to
of
do.
knowing some really useful people at a very useful time.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But then I guess really off your back, being able to then translate and transition that into being productive and putting it all together.
Yeah,
which is great. You had something to say?
No, I'll be honest. It was a random thing, and all it was, it's got nothing to do with anything we've been talking about. Really.
Shocked, flawed.
Believe it or not, well, it kind of does. It kind of doesn't. But just to finish off on the army thing, what are your viewpoints on the whole shaving policy that the army have just announced? They're relaxing it.
So I think it's okay, as long as they're clear, as long as they're tidy and shaven. I don't think I've got an issue with it. Yeah. The other thing is about operational effectiveness. So when people go on operations, we were always taught we shave because you have to put a gas mask on and it's not effective. It causes gaps and things like that.
Sure.
So I think if they're clean and shaven, if they're tidy and shaven, then I think that's fine. Yeah. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. So I am part of some Facebook groups, and there's been directive at like regimental level, which contradicts the bigger picture. So
right.
Whether it'll happen or not is a different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I've heard both sides of the story. Just wanted to get your view. But I checked your boots; they're not shiny anymore. You got some facial hair now, so I just wanted to see what your thoughts were.
The first thing I didn't do.
What? Stop shaving.
Stop shaving.
Really?
And I think I did exercise either. So when you're in the forces, you generally exercise 5-6 times a week. So when I left, I said, I'm not doing any of that. I went from the 32 waste to a 36 waste, driving trucks. So I went from running 5-6 days a week to driving trucks.
Yeah.
But I loved it, yeah. Jet what I wanted and just did what I wanted.
But I think that's a natural, even if you look at professional athletes, normally that's what they do because they just want that break. They want that change. And I did say to you earlier that you're a very hard man to research. Okay, the hardest man to hunt down. But I did see an old photo of you on Facebook in some camo gear. I think it looks like you're all dressed up, ready for something. So I've seen you as a soldier. So it's definitely true. Oh, definitely. So you said earlier, you've got your young family, you've got two beautiful young boys, a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
If says it right. What was obviously starting any business is always a scary thing. Did you find that starting a business with a family fearful or scary, or did you find it motivating and boosting?
No, not really. I have this conversation with friends that want to start a business, and for me, it's about mitigating the financial risk. If you can mitigate that, it's just time, isn't it? You do what you want. So I was really fortunate that things fell in place that I could go and drive a truck. Even now, if the business failed or something happened, I can go and drive a truck. Yeah. The business is really lean. I'm really lean in terms of finances and expenditure. So the risk is minimal for me financially. So no, I didn't see that, and I don't really see risk now either. So if we're going to go, we're going to go for it. So yeah, no, I didn't see that risk.
No.
Well, I did see the risk, but I managed the risk.
Yeah,
that's what I say to friends and family now that want to go and start a business. Yeah,
I think that's a really important thing that you've just raised. I think there is risk, and just manage that risk and understand that risk reward ratio is so crucial. And you didn't mention it then, but you mentioned it earlier, just about that time with family. That motivational point of I think although it's not as always clear cut as people want it to be, I think that freedom of time as a business owner is so crucial.
Is that something that you think your dad sort of influenced for you, how you used to just work for lifestyle, or do you try and sort of do that as much as possible, or are you going hell for leather now and hoping that in a few years you can have that time?
It's quite interesting you say that, and we spoke about it earlier, but I went from wanting a lifestyle business to it's long days at the minute, and we employ and we're trying to grow and everything else, so it's stealing a lot of the time. But I'm just going through a phase now of trying to strategically plan to get some of that time back. So I've been at one end of the scale where I've had when I was a sole trader and I was just doing my own thing on domestic properties, I was really lucky that I could kind of pick and choose. Whereas now, because I've got other people's families to look after, it's really, really selfish, I know, but my family come last because their family, they need feeding, they need wages. But I know that's only sustainable for so long. So I'm just trying to now put some strategy in place to try and pull some time back for my family. Yeah. So
that's some valid points. And I think, that kind of, it's playing that long game, for want of a better term, isn't it?
I mean, it's something that you sort of started to really implement. I mean, we've recently seen some people move up to different positions to be able to give you some time to do stuff like this. But also spend some time outside of work because you are a bit of a workaholic. Yeah,
I don't understand what this whole outside of work life is. I see people say it, but I think it's just a unicorn, isn't it? But look, you are right. When I started the business at the time, so I've got 2 children. At the time, I was with a lady who had 3 children. So between us, we had 5. So it was like really heavy and intense. And I use that as fear because you're like, if I don't provide, we are in the proverbial, so to speak, and I think you are completely right, Sophia. The business now, I'm very blessed. I've got a great team around me, and I've just set up a leadership team to take off a bit more of those stresses. And even just now, I was late because I was just typing up our wonderful cue cards, and I got an email come through from a new client. I don't know who they are, but Connor, our head of sales, Connor's just been dealing with that. I was like, "Oh, on earth's this?" Oh, it's a new client I've signed. Yeah, great. Like, as the business has grown, I used to know everyone, knew everything. I knew every pound into the business, every pound out of the business. Now but I think, do you feel you'll cope well with sort of handing off some of that control and trust? There's a smirk on your face.
I was just going to ask you the same question to try and get a bit of knowledge, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Yeah, because a lot of my customers I have really good relationships with. Whether they're big accounts or small accounts, it's me that they ring generally. So the thought of not being there for them or them having that service, it worries me that they might not they might not want us as a business if I'm not that point of contact. But at the same time, it's difficult to say to a customer, look, this is what I'm trying to do. It has to happen, because all they see is their world, don't they? In you, they don't see your business doing what you want from your business. They just see what they want from your business. So, yeah, I don't know. It's something we'll have to deal with, I suppose. Yeah.
And look, just to kind of answer your question, I feel like the interviewee now. It is really tough, and everyone knows that I'm a bit of a control freak. I like things done in certain ways. Is that you're okay? You're right, man. I like things done my way, but like it's taken a while. I think it comes down to a couple of things. A, the right people, having the right team and the right people to understand what you're doing. I think it's communicating your vision for the business and what you want to achieve and how you want things to happen. And I think a lot of it just come from thinking of the bigger picture. Like, I don't know if you have seen or noticed, but I nowadays rarely give out my mobile number, even to like close business contacts. It's always the landline, because I don't want the text, the WhatsApps. You've got my personal number, so that means you're privileged. You're one of the privileged few. But also as well, like boosting the personal brand. I don't know if you see a lot of our marketing material and a lot of our efforts on LinkedIn and so on. Yeah, it's to highlight the great people we've got in the business, because I want people to think, right, well, I need marketing services. It originally used to be, right, I need to speak to Rob, which was fine. But now I want it to be, right, I need to speak to Molly, I need to speak to Ria, and I need to speak to Sophia or whoever it is, so that, the saying I always say, and wrongly or rightly, is, what would you do if I was dead? I want to make sure the business exists long after me. But Molly's been giving us the wave, so it's break time now.
Okay.
Break time. So we're going to take a quick 1.7 minute break, play a little note from our sponsors and our promoters. Stay tuned. We've got more to come from Sam after this.
Hey, Spence.
Hey, Sophia.
Don't you think someone would be silly to not go with the paragon of sales for their sales and marketing?
Oh, you'd be foolish.
You would be
absolutely foolish.
so silly. Luckily, I happen to know a company.
No.
And they are, by design, a paragon of sales and marketing.
Really? Tell me more.
They handle it all. We're talking fully outsourced sales.
Fully outsourced sales?
That's telesales with lead generation, appointment setting, high conversion rate. We're talking marketing. Now, this isn't just any marketing. This is digital marketing. Sounds like an M&S advert.
We need some Fleetwood Mac playing in the background.
We've got web design.
Can we do that?
We'll get copyright strike.
Oh, okay.
Web design, SEO, social media management, and mail outs.
That's right, we can't forget the mail outs.
We can't forget the mail outs.
So for these foolish people that are using a substandard marketing agency, what should they do next?
They should send us an inquiry about how we can help them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
To our email at hello@paragonsalessolutions.co.uk. You should go to our website www.paragonsalessolutions.co.uk, or they should hit us up on our socials at Paragon Sales Solutions.
Amazing.
I
think that was my favourite.
And we're back. So, Sam, I know we've touched on it a little bit, but what have been your sort of biggest challenges in starting up your own business?
I think there's a couple. I think one of the challenges I had was, and I think one of your previous guests has touched on it, but I employed a family member.
Oh, Lisa, yeah.
Lisa mentioned that, yeah.
And
we got some hidden goss about that as well.
Yeah. Did you?
Stuff we couldn't say on camera.
Yeah. So yeah, I employed a family member. Didn't quite work out, and ultimately the relationship isn't great now. So at the time, the emotions and the anger and everything's there. But looking back in hindsight, maybe the challenge was, and I don't know if you've employed family members but it's removing the family emotion to actually employee, and then them lines became very blurred. So when it came to managing said individual, it was, well, you're my family member, you're not my manager. And I was, well, no, I'm your... So I'd say that was something I'd take away and wouldn't do again. I do work with my dad now, but we have a mutual understanding, so we get on okay. But that's probably one. And the other thing is, so now, like I've touched on, the growth phase that we're going through, it's took me a while to react, and I think that's been potentially a detriment to the business. So a takeaway, I wouldn't say it's a failure, but something that I'll be conscious of in the future is, again, that strategic kind of piece, that thinking high level, so it benefits the business, really. Yeah. So they're probably the two things. Yeah, I'd say.
It has been something that you have identified clearly quite quickly.
Yeah.
Because if you can realise it now and you've only been going for 2 years and you're like, oh, I missed opportunities there.
Yeah.
That's not a bad time to know that you could have expanded more.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, I wouldn't say a failing, but a lesson is being on your own as a business owner. I think particularly as a sole trader. So I'm quite new to networking and things like that, and reaching out to other businesses and coffees and beers, whatever it is. And the benefit for me for that is massive. It's changed my mindset. It's changed the business. Even things like this podcast, spending time with Rob, the conversations that I have. So I wish I would have done that a year ago, because I would have been a year further ahead. Yeah. So again, another takeaway is that if things feel uncomfortable, but it's going to benefit, then just dive in and go for it. And because you could be 2, 3, 4, 5. You see businesses that are quite, they've got the age on the side, but if they just would have thrown themselves at it, they could have been in a completely different place. Yeah. So
I do see that quite often myself. People kind of procrastinate and sit on the edge of decisions instead of just going, right, let's work. If it works, amazing. If it doesn't, what can we learn from it? You are becoming an avid networker. I can't escape you at the minute. You are everywhere. Which is great, which is fine. It's absolutely fun. It's just awkward when there's two handsome chaps on the network. Do you know what I mean? What would you say networking's been your biggest catalyst for growth, or is there other things in there?
It's a combination of two things, yeah. So, but I think there's the relationships. So a couple of my key KPIs are retention and return rate. So we've got some customers that have been with us for over 12 months now, and they return to us for our specialist services as well. So that's been key, is that piece. So I'd say that really.
Yeah. And how have you been getting on with the networking?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. So the fears about being in a room full of strangers, public speaking, all the usual things that people think of, they don't really bother me anymore. Like coming on a podcast, for instance. I think you invited me quite a while ago.
I think I messaged you 7 times.
And I was out the door waiting on the way out. But
the only reason we got our carpets cleaned was to have it all set up for when you came.
Networking's definitely helped. But the biggest benefit for me about networking is there's such a variety of people that you meet, whether they're small, medium, large-sized businesses, whether they're CEOs, sole traders, or in the middle somewhere. There's nuggets of information that you can take. Even if you don't do business together, there's so many lessons you can take away from each other. And for me, that's been invaluable. Yeah. It does benefit me massively, and it's something I'll continue to do.
Yeah. It's like what you said a second ago, just that ability to learn from others, get their experiences and so on. And Sophia has said that she's always up to visit one of your networking because she loves public speaking, she loves giving the talks, and sometimes you'll walk by and you'll hear her practicing a 60-second pitch, she's...
60-second pitch, I'd sooner die. I always say, I don't know how you managed to talk me into doing this, but
right,
you did, and I'm doing it.
Just to make clear, there was no talking Sophia into this. I just want to say, I wanted a co-host. Said, Sophia, do you fancy doing the podcast? Yeah, I think that was the conversation.
It's inaccurate.
I think that was the conversation as a whole.
I think that's the takeaway is so public speaking or networking is in your own mind, because when I've listened to the podcast, you are so natural with it that I would never assume that you've got any worries about that. And that's the thing that I've learned from networking and things. It's all in your own mind.
Yeah. As much as you are looking at yourself ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And I guess networking is especially important for you and just your business in general, because it's such a word of mouth. industry that you are sort of
Yeah.
heading up, like those compliments and referrals of service, are they a large chunk of the business that you
They are, yeah.
need to get? Yeah.
Yeah, they are, yeah. It's something I'm really proud of, and it's something that, as a business, I want to continue. So I want to be that name, either myself or the business name, where people can phone us and reliable, and when we give a really good service. But I think it's really good as well that that holds you accountable. The name of the business and yourself that you share with others, and when you are networking, it holds you accountable to make sure you deliver them services. Because it can go the other way, and I've seen it go the other way for people where it does go wrong.
Yes.
And I think you said, Rob, that the Leicester businesses generally know each other. So I think
Quite a small little kiddie pool.
Yeah,
it's got to a stage now where I'd rather not work with businesses in Leicester. I'd rather work further afield. If you work in Leicester, please do send your inquiries in. I take it all back. But just because if something were to go wrong, if something wasn't quite to click, it can spread, quite
Bit
dramatically.
of a gossip game.
Oh, 100%. It's very incestuous, I would say, is the word I use. Everyone knows everyone and so on. And you might not want to reveal too much because obviously you're a leading, professional cleaning company and you are the best of the best. Has anything gone wrong on a cleaning job? Have you ever turned up and packed the wrong kit or opened the drawer that you shouldn't have opened?
Yeah, things do go wrong. Yeah, so I was like pressure washing, for instance. So we're using loud, heavy equipment. There's a big risk there that if there's a machine or equipment failure, you're halfway through a job, you've got mud and stuff and just things everywhere. You're in the customer's space. So what do you do? How do you resolve that? So luckily it's never happened on a large scale job, but I have been cleaning driveways before. And I've only done it once, so I have learned from it. But we have a hose that connects to the machine, and you're supposed to take the hose off when you move the vehicle. But I left the hose on, and the hose got wrapped around the wheel and snapped. So there's like stuff everywhere. I've only got a hose pipe, and I'm like, how do I clean this now? Yeah, so it has gone wrong. Yeah. Luckily, on a kind of commercial scale, we haven't had any failures. So yeah.
And how did you handle that situation? Did you speak to the customer with?
They were fine, yeah. So after trying to clear the street with a hose pipe and a pressure washer there, I think a lot of people. It was on a bus route, so I think people were thinking, "Why is he using this machine?" They were fine, yeah. And then we went and got them. I went and got the machine repaired, and we finished the job. They were fine, yeah. So
that's not too bad of a disaster. I was expecting.
That's fine. Big explosions.
No, we've been all right. To be fair, we've been all right. Touch wood.
I always get scared when I'm literally cleaning my bathroom by myself that I'm going to mix the wrong chemicals together and just gas myself, and that's going to be it.
See, I quite like that. Not you gassing yourself or anyone being gassed. I'm not. I just want to be very clear. I'm not a fan of solvent abuse, but I just feel like things are then clean. I could be completely wrong, but when you get to that stage where like, what?
I'm really paranoid about it.
So strangely enough, we use scents for our customers. So it can be something as simple as carpet spray or Febreze plug mounts, because people do generally walk into a clean environment and go, "Smells nice, doesn't it?"
Yeah.
So yeah, you are right. Yeah. It is a tip and a trick. That we use.
Placebo.
Yeah, it is, because even I read somewhere that you're not supposed to leave standing bleach. You're not like leave it.
Yeah.
But I love it. When I've cleaned my kitchen.
And you've done the toilet and you fill it all up.
Oh God. Yeah.
You're speaking his language.
And I kid you not, yesterday, right? Because we had this conversation. I love a clean home. Love a clean home. So I do have a cleaner. She comes every week, and I get my shopping delivered. I ordered another 4 of those Febreze Revolutions, whatever they call them.
Oh yeah,
Just so I've got
the
this
vanilla cookie one.
Yeah, just so they're in every single room. Just so every room is fresh. You walk into scents. I generally came out of my bedroom this morning. I thought I was about to die because it was so overwhelming outside. Might need to turn them down. But it smells nice. Is that illusion? Is that illusion? I do have a shrew running around my bedroom at the minute.
A what?
A what?
A shrew.
What's that?
A little mouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My cat's got into the habit of bringing in mice. She's a brilliant hunter, rubbish killer. So, I think I was going into bed the other night. I could hear some rustling in my washing basket. I was like, what on earth is that? And I opened the washing basket and I moved around. There's honestly, it's like that.
Little dormouse.
Little brown thing, like an inch inside. And obviously trying to chase it around. you can't do anything. I get my cat involved. My cat's just like,
It's like mixing your cornflakes.
Used to do that little. It might as well still a little, that does. So, yeah, you'll just wake up in the middle of the night and it'll just be like, right on your pillow.
Yeah, and that happened once before. There was a man. I said I've got a clean house, and it's infested with mice.
Yeah, except from the rat problem, he's got a really clean house.
It's lovely. It smells nice.
That's why they keep coming.
I'll let you take over again.
So, no failures in the sort of the actual cleaning side of things, which is good. You obviously talked about the problems with hiring family members, but any more sort of business related behind the scenes sort of mistakes that you think that you've made, or
No, not really. No.
brilliant?
Nice and simple. Yeah.
Clean sweet.
Yeah.
That's
Clean
always
sweet.
helpful.
Yeah, we're full of stories, and things keep going wrong here. Like nothing major, nothing. And I keep meaning to write down like little mishaps and mistakes just to share them, and I forget. And the only one I can think of is, do you train now? You exercise now? Clearly, do you go to the gym and stuff?
No, just running.
Okay, right. But you've been to a gym?
Yep.
Clearly. I know of someone who just the other day, could have been last Friday. In this person's gym, there's a spa, and there's a hot tub, and there's a sauna and a steam room. Okay, and from what would you like to tell the story?
No, I don't think you should.
So, before you go to spa, there's a sign that says the steam room's out of action. Okay, but this individual has ignored that sign, ignored the sign that is on the steam room door that says out of order.
There wasn't a sign on the...
I will take a photo. There is a sign.
There wasn't when we went.
She's gone into the steam. There's no lights on in there. She's gone in and just sat there in the dark.
Be honest.
And what did you say? Oh, it doesn't feel warm in there.
Yeah, I went with another co-worker, and we went to try this spa, and obviously there's, like, so sauna, pool, steam room when you first walk in. We, in front of everyone else that is in this spa, have opened the door. Like you said, lights not on. We've gone in, sat down. It's not warm in here. And we've come out to just a sea of laughter. I wanted the ground to open up and to take me away. It was absolutely horrible. And I don't know why Georgia told you. I think that's really cruel.
Was it Georgia that told?
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay. Everything gets back to me at some stage, to be honest. I always hear
That's
everything.
why I ignore you.
Yeah, I know.
I blank him at the gym.
I get blanked to the gym. I got blanked by Eloise, our other colleague in Tesco this morning. I think you were going to know me outside of work, to be honest. But if you could give any advice to anyone starting a job, or a big one starting a business, what would that advice be?
Mitigate the risk financially, because that takes a lot of weight off. I think that's where a lot of businesses struggle initially. So try and mitigate the risk. Be disciplined, be resilient, be prepared to pivot at any point. If the service or whatever you're offering isn't working, pivot the business as quick as you can. Speak to the business owners. Yeah, don't be afraid to say I've got this wrong, or I need some support, or what does that problem look like for you? So they're probably the three things. Yeah, mitigate the risk financially, but be prepared to pivot and ask for help if you need it.
Yeah. And I really like the third one, because that we say this a lot on the show, but this is the whole motivation for the show. Just to remember that mistakes happen, things aren't always, bright lights and sparkles. I was even reading a story the other day when Amazon released their Fire Phone. Do you remember the Fire Phone? No, because it was a flop. But it was an absolute flop. And Jeff, look, it was an absolute catastrophic disaster. Billions wasted. And Jeff Bezos wrote a letter to say to the stakeholders, this will not be our biggest failure. And I think, like, what we've got to remember as business owners, as leaders, entrepreneurs, that we're going to make mistakes, we're going to make mishaps, things are going to go wrong. I love the way you introduced this show today as well, by the way, Sophia. What did you say? You said the business, you used some alliteration. We need to look back. But you said something, I'm going to steal it. But things go wrong. Mistakes happen. And, like you say, learning from others is a great way to great way to do it. And obviously the fourth thing you should recommend is that people subscribe to the show. Yeah.
Got you. And just sort of maybe to close out, really, what are your plans sort of for the future of TSD Group?
Depends what day you ask me. So some days it's work one day a week and let the business run itself, and other days it's build a bigger monster I can. So yeah, I think for me it's being consistent with the service we provide. So I'm really conscious of getting to this big monster and not having relationships and sitting there in an ivory tower and not really know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think continual growth, looking after our employees, making sure they're happy and looked after is key for us as well. And whatever that looks like in whatever size, I think, yeah. As long as we can control them things, then yeah, whatever happens, I think.
Yeah. I like that. There's going to be some people watching this who are looking around their house going, oh my God, it's infested with mice. I now need to clean it. And I want my room smelling of lovely clean things. How can people get in touch with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as Sam Cooper. We've got a website, which is www.tsdgroup.co.uk. They're probably the best ways to find me, yeah.
Perfect. And we'll make sure we put some of those links
down there for you.
Links below. But I think that's about time to round up. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be after the 7th time of asking you to be on the show?
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Exactly. So you heard that. So if you do want to join us on the show, please do get in touch. Send us a DM on whatever platform you're listening to or watching this on. Send us in an email at howifailedinbusiness@gmail.com. As always, if you've got any dilemmas, any mistakes, any mishaps, any boo-boos that you've made over the time that you want to share, once again, email them in, send us a DM. We'd love to share them. We can do it anonymously, of course. If you've ever walked into a sauna that wasn't turned on, let us know. If you've ever run over a hose and, flooded someone's house, let us know. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, give us a follow. I've been Rob Spence.
I've been Sophia Grace.
And until next time, all the best.